Welcome to a whole heck of a heap of racing game news. To begin with, I'll do this in order of what I'm excited for, so I guess I won't spoil what that is, but, well, the first one, because as far as I can tell, it's pretty much speculation, is Project Motor Racing. What is confirmed for it is the release date is pretty cotton picking soon, unless that gets delayed. We don't really know till it's out. And it's confirmed of how they're going to do some online racing. In terms of the driver and sportsmanship rating, whatever theirs is called, it might be that for all I know. It's returning of what worked in previous games. I think even Project Cars 2 had something similar to that. But now it's going to be with classes of vehicles. So like in the GT4 or equivalent for GT7 being Group 4 is going to be different than Group C or what would be the equivalent in GT7 of the older Group 1 cars. All of those for an individual one would have their own ratings, and to me, that is a pretty cotton-picking good idea. Because as I've said before, even though I've driven like certain tracks a whole heck of a heap, no matter what, there's going to be certain cars I'm not as good on, and especially it goes for me of generally speaking, the faster, the worse I am. Occasionally you can get a really good tuned Group 1 car or something like that one at high-speed ring where I finished 35th in the world in GT7, but that's an outlier for me. So those rating systems are a good idea, especially for someone like me that has kind of that entire spectrum of talent. On a very extremely rare occasion, I can be toe-to-toe with some of the best in the world, and, well, usually I'm average to below average, so yeah, that works out well. But really, what I'm excited for is kind of speculation, but their wording makes it seem like it to me. Maybe I'm just an idiot, maybe I don't understand, like, the lingo of that company or whatever. But of what they confirmed in a general sense is that there should be no cost to online racing. I guess what they mean, like, most certainly, is it's not going to be like an iRacing thing where you have to pay for DLC to race in certain leagues and stuff like that. But I wouldn't have thought it would be that way anyway, given that it's going to be a console game, so, yeah. But my thinking is, theoretically, if they're truthful about it, that means that you shouldn't have to pay for PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live either, because truly no pay for playing online means that you don't have to pay for the services or whatever, which PlayStation, Xbox Live, Switch 2, I guess, has something as well, I would assume. It's sort of stuff. Because, I mean, as I've said for a while now, and even said it in a somewhat more recent video too, it's been true for a while and a half right yonder, and even more so maybe now than ever. When the quality of online play is as good, if not better, on PC, which is free to play online, to be quite frank, the PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live being forced to pay to play online is bullshit. Just straightforward bullshit. If you want to pay for it to get the exclusive games or whatever with it, then so be it, but it should be free to play online. And I feel like Project Motor Racing is going to be a perfect example of that. Whether it does end up that they're going to be true to their word with that, we'll see, but I have a hunch that the PC online experience is going to be as good, if not better, than the console. Granted, I'm never going to really have a PC up to the standards to play a modern game. I really don't think of how things are going, but it will come out on Xbox Series, so hopefully the Series S can run it alright. And if they're true to their word, I'm not really expecting them to be hopes and expectations or a different thing, but I still am really hyped it is, and we're actually getting a game without all that much content, especially at release, if there's no PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live required to play it. I mean, I guess technically I don't really care if it would need PlayStation Plus because I would get on the Xbox Series S because that's the only modern console I have. But I mean, theoretically, if you don't need one, you wouldn't need the other two. So yeah, and theoretically that is what they mean. I don't see how they would be wording it differently unless they truly just making fun of iRacing, which is a low-hanging fruit because iRacing model is way too expensive for most people. I get that, but it's also a PC-only game, so I don't know. So if it's true of Project Motor Racing that it's an actual free experience to play online where you just buy the game outright and that's the only cost, meaning not needing Xbox Live, I'll probably get the game and maybe even at launch. We'll see on that. There isn't a whole heck of a heap of content, especially compared to something like GT7, but quality over quantity of content from what I can tell. There, to me, it just seems straightforward. The quality of content in Project Motor Racing looks better than what GT7 has, straightforward. And it might even be better than others. There's stuff like Le Mans Ultimate that, from what I can tell, is still PC exclusive, I think. Or Rensport that's been iffy for years and years now. I think it is eventually coming out on console, but it had just such an awful time period of the delays and controversy and all. I don't see any way that Rensport beats out Project Motor Racing. And it's one of those ironic things where there's a lot competing for the same market. GT7 a bit, but then especially stuff like Le Mans Ultimate, Project Motor Racing, Rensport, and you can still have the old stuff like iRacing and Assetto Corsa Evo in there too. Or to begin with, Competition, the old one, and then eventually Evo, not super long out. Some people are already playing the early access now. All competing for the same market. So, yeah, I could end up picking wrong, too, in a lot of ways, waiting to see which one ends up being the cream of the crop of those, too, because I definitely don't have the money for all of them, and generally speaking, the super simulation stuff, I ain't really all that dandy in terms of talent level, but I am still excited of what's confirmed anyway with the Project Motor Racing. It's by class. So, generally speaking, I'm sure I can find some slow classic cars I'm at least okay at. But still, if it ends up needing Xbox Live, I'm almost certainly not going to get it. I mean, maybe if it ends up real cheap down the line eventually. But I'll say this, if it ends up that you still have to pay for Xbox Live, I probably wouldn't pay more than $10 or so for it, because ultimately, while the quality of content is great, I'm not going to be the Danish at the game. And there's a whole heck of heap of other options out there, too. But in terms of what I know I will play, because I already have it, and again, I'm doing this on least excited, granted, again, a lot of that speculation. If it happens, a lot more excitement, but still, hopes versus expectations kind of quelled excitement, some on that. The most excited, so yeah, in the middle for me, is GT7, Spec 3. Initially, I was just going to make this its own video, but then what's up next? Well, I guess someone had probably spoiled in the thumbnail. It's, Forza Horizon 6, that's the next one. Initially, I was probably just going to mention, like, Project Motor Racing for like a minute and move on, and make the main video of GT7, but now, yeah, I'm more excited for Forza Horizon 6. I'll go ahead and talk about GT7, even though, especially for people that watch the channel more, I'm sure y'all have already watched videos on this, and especially know about the content. I mean, yeah, it's straightforward. I'm sure y'all read it. The 8 cars, 2 tracks, getting the different types of weekly challenges. Finally, after 3.5 years, it's making it to where, from what I can tell, again, this is still somewhat speculation, I guess, but it seems more straightforward than like the Project Motor Racing type thing. We're finally going to get to keep the invitations to buy cars, which is a stupid idea to begin with, because I get in real life there is some loyalty to get like new stuff and all that, but especially of more older stuff, it generally just goes to the highest bidder. Unless there's something absolutely new or someone's on the list to get, that ain't a thing. And especially shouldn't be a thing in a video game because it just makes for fear of missing out. It's for that little bit of time when someone randomly, and the emphasis on the dumbly, like I've said more and more throughout the years, seems like the randomly with emphasis on the dumbly, to get the thing, so then they need to feel like they need to grind as much as possible before the invitation runs out, and if they don't get there, then to buy microtransactions. So from what I can tell, again, it's still somewhat tentative on that, of how long it will be, but I think generally speaking, it means that it will be permanent once you're to the collector level, but the collector level is through buying vehicles. So that's still grind, so arguably it still is directed towards microtransactions. We have to have a certain value of vehicles bought before you can even get to that to begin with. So I'm still not outright giving points to GT7 for that. They're not losing any points anymore for making it completely microtransaction laden. But in my opinion, the whole collector level thing is also, like I said before in the video, bullshit. The only reason for PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live forcing people to pay online is money. It doesn't make the quality of games any better. The only reason for there being a collector level involving buying cars in Gran Turismo 7, the real driving simulator, is to make more money. It does not make the game any better. Both of which are bullshit tactics just to get money out of fans. That's it. And it's still somewhat going on there. But, I mean, the rest is more positive. Realistically, what PD has done is, I mean, collector level, maybe just keep it as a visual thing, whatever, but not make it any more than at the absolute most for the average ticket that you get for doing the daily workout to 26 miles. That. At absolute most. They shouldn't lock anything behind it, like in terms of invitations, in terms of unlocks throughout the game. Any of that. At the most, it should be what ticket you do after traveling. And even that's kind of iffy. Too, because the tickets ain't worth the 26 miles. It's not really worth just doing that in of itself. That's not a way to get credits compared to the best money methods, but that's a different video too, to some extent. But I mean, now into the positives with that. That's just my general rant on that. But I mean, there's plenty of positives too. We already know what some of the cars are. Probably the thumbnail of the video will be the Mitsubishi FTO, because that ties together the GT7 Spec 3 and Forza Horizon 6, because Japan, it might not be the daniest idea, and it doesn't really give much to Project Motor Racing, but I mean, whatever. I'm sure to some extent you kind of get the thumbnail, put it like that. But, I mean, out of already of the confirmed cars, it's probably the one I'm least excited for. There's F1, which granted, there's other non-licensed F1 cars in the game, but I mean, this one seems to be of an older variant, so theoretically it will drive somewhat differently and stuff. Granted, I think it would ultimately be cool if they're going the route of F1s to add, like, even older stuff, or even do, like, their variation of the six-wheeled one, or stuff like that, but, I mean, whatever, it's still a unique thing, and all in all, I'd say I'd probably end up driving it more than the Mitsubishi FTO, unless the FTO just happens to be really competitive in performance point, or somewhere or another, or it gets a weekly race on, like, Tokyo Expressway, Central Outer Loop, and I'd be driving it for the competition or whatever. But the one I'm most excited for, what's confirmed, is the newest Ferrari. I'm pretty sure Ferrari's already having it's called the same number, but it's like a facelift or whatever for racing already confirmed. But for like the time being of hell, it might not even be by December, but I think for the time being, for now, it still is the newest Ferrari of the GT3 or Group 3 variant. So, yay, Ferrari 296, I think is right. I'm not super fan of Ferrari or anything, but this is a sign of good things. Kind of, if they're adding one, theoretically, they would add more of the newer Group 3 type cars than all. A lot of people made the debate of, like I've said earlier in the video, there's so many games focusing on almost the exact same type of racing, to the point of they're all fighting for the same market, and the majority of them, if not all, of the ones specific will fail, because there's some giants like Gran Turismo out there that have the better graphics and the more fan base and all that. I'd rather at least one of the niche ones still make it, if it has better physics, at least one of them. But, I mean, in reality, we'll see. But my rebuttal to that is, well, you're not wrong. It's straightforward. There's other games more suited for specifically GT3 type racing than GT7. In terms of the sport mode, we get GT3 type racing a whole heck of a heap. I'd say it's fair to say that the plurality, and it might even be pretty close to majority, I would say at least like 40% of the total races in sport mode, probably more leaning towards when we get the manufacturers and Nations Cup, but even the quote-unquote daily races themselves are too much of it, in my opinion. Group 3 racing. So even though, there's games out there more suited for it, when PD themselves shoves Group 3 down our throats so much, if they're going to do it, they might as well shove something new down our throats and not something rotten, right? If I'm going to get something shoved down my throat, I'd rather at least be relatively palatable. So there's that. I don't hate Group 3 racing either. It's just been overused through the years. In terms of racing, that's kind of in the middle for me. Skill level and, fun level. Fun for me probably would be about an average speed of a production car. Maybe somewhere between 300 and 500 horsepower, depending on the tires and weight and all that, would probably be the most fun. Skill-wise, it would probably be somewhere between 200 and 300 horsepower road car. And something like Tokyo Expressway, obviously. And, just outright, insanity in terms of content would be something like Group 1, or even faster than that. We've never had, a Tomahawk X race at Route X, even though we've had both Tomahawk X and Route X a long time now in Gran Turismo. That seems weird to me, at least. I've had it as a weekly race once, you'd think, but whatever. So it's not quite insane, it's not quite my skill level or outright peak enjoyment, but it's fine. There's really no outright negatives to it. They're getting slightly better with the balance of performance, but it seems like they can never get more than a few cars at once. Even when they can slightly get maybe 3 or 4 close-ish to each other, there's just so many. To me, it still seems like they're lacking overall balance of performance. They're getting a little bit better with some tracks. You get some different cars. Even occasionally, depending on the track. The Viper Group 3 is competitive now for the first time since, 2018. Really? That's sad to say. But, that can be a good sign, too, is because maybe, and it truly is a maybe, this is also speculative. This means that if we're getting some real-world GT3 cars, we get some more modern of the Gran Turismo iterations, too, so maybe we get something like the new Dodge Charger, which is getting a V8 now. I guess it could be either V6 or V8, but obviously I'd rather see the V8 Group 3 car, and then maybe it could be like a Hornet Group 4 or something like that. Just my example for Dodge, and then put whatever example you want for a Gran Turismo iteration for whatever brand, but again, that's truly and really speculation. We'll see on that. But all in all, for the update, I'm the most excited of what most people are excited about. There's things that have been far too long having Like, the invitation system being permanent, they should just get rid of that completely. Or finally getting a new GT3 car. But, I mean, of course, I'm most excited all in all for the tracks. I mean, Gilles Villeneuve and especially Yas Marina are really famous, and I don't have tons of experience on either, so frankly, when it come out, I'll suck at both. It's straightforward as a warning. I won't be the Danish at either, I guarantee it. But they're both very much unique and welcome to the franchise. I'm pretty sure they can have the door open for multiple variations. Who knows what we're released with, but the door's open for other variations is there too, and maybe that kind of leaves the door cracked for some tracks being added in the future. Again, that's surely speculation as well, but I'm more confident that there would be tracks other than the 2 confirmed added down the line than I was at this point yesterday, or I guess this depends on when I upload the video. Internet's been slower and retrained. This point a few days ago, I'll put it like that. So that's something, and that's purely speculation as well. But what's complete speculation is like what they mean with the weekly challenges. All we've seen there is pictures. I mean, there's something like doing a certain section of it might be Brands Hats. I guess track doesn't necessarily matter because it would change by week theoretically. But let's just say for the sake of argument, I think it might be Brands Hats they showed on there. And it's like a weekly challenge, but showing a section of the track, so you'd think that's more would be like a license thing, which is a one-time payout. So that really is weird. If it's one of those where you can just do 30 seconds of the same thing over and over and get a decent amount of money each time, then that's something, ain't it? Theoretically, I think what they might end up doing is it's just the license. So for all I know, it actually end up being locked unless you're to that license in the game, which means you have to go through the super licenses, which are like the second iteration, whatever those are called, which are ungodly hard. So that's actually kind of a negative too, because in other things you need the collector level, which is arbitrary, as I've said before. Not getting into that, but to unlock other parts of weekly challenges, maybe that's going to be how it is with that. But the point being is those are one-time payout. So arguably, I think what they're going to end up doing is it's just going to be part of the. You finish one event and you get a 6-star part or 100,000 credits, depending on the week. The 100,000 credits are always the superior way. When it's a 6-star part, I don't even do a single weekly challenge. Your chances are the part's going to be something I'm never going to use and not worth all that much money to begin with. Both. Not either, it's both. So, yeah, there's that. But it could end up being one of those things that's a pretty decent way to earn money. Because maybe it would be a new thing and they would put money to it. Tending to speak like a completely new challenge altogether. But tentatively speaking, we don't know, so I'll leave that up in there. But hopes versus expectations. Hopes it would be a new thing that would be a decent way to grind money. It's much more than what's already there, preferably more. Like more than certain exact settings with a custom race, or more than like the Tokyo 600s or Dina 800, that sort of thing that all end up in the same bar park we've had for years of earning money, really, since the Tomahawk glitch was patched. Yeah, hopefully. But that, again, purely is speculations. And then just, like, general stuff is the other cars, pure speculations. I think they said they're going to change some stuff with online, pure speculation. The unlocked tire model, does that mean we're going to get new physics, or is it just aesthetic? That's purely speculation. So there's a lot of stuff involving GT7. It's also speculation there too, but there's enough that I'm excited for, like straightforward, of finally getting a new GT3 car, finally being at least a way to get some more invitations, like straightforward, even if they ain't forever. They should be forever, or just get rid of it completely, whatever. At least it's a way where you know you're going to straightforward get one, and you don't just have to rely on a random roulette. Overall, I'd say like my excitement for Project Motor Racing is meh, because I might not even understand the wording correctly, or maybe I even do, and they're trying to false advertising. No, with GT7, it's yay. I mean, all things considered, like to end off the GT7 segment though, it seems like more people than not are speculating that we ain't getting any content till December too. I don't think any of that's confirmed or denied, but that's what people are speculating in general. So, I mean, the car type thing, we'll get 8 cars in December, it's September. Like, in that terms of stuff, that's nothing special. But, I mean, it is nice that we're finally getting 2 tracks. We haven't gotten a track in a while and a half. And it road track, and even, like, on asphalt, longer than that, even. So, I mean, I mean, Spec 3 has a lot of quality of life stuff and easier to get money. That might, in the long term, be more of the important thing. But again, that's purely speculation, so it's kind of mad to, like, yay. But, I mean, it's 100% yeehaw for Forza Horizon 6. We don't know a whole heck of a heap about it, but I mean, really all we need to know is, given the track record of Forza Horizon, insanely popular, and to some people insanely good, and I'm on there too. I mean, I've reviewed the game, and it's kind of the same general consensus of, like, for Forza Horizon 5, the story is stupid, and there's individual stuff like the grinding in the Forza-thon, and like the kind of the Forza equivalent weekly challenges and stuff like that, not so much, but I mean, overall, this is the gameplay and all that combined. Not counting some of the things that are outright annoying, it's probably the best of the modern-ish racing game. I don't know if you call 5 outright modern, but ish at least still, I guess. Like, probably somewhere between an 8.5 and 9 out of 10 for Horizon 5 to me. But I understand why some people ain't liking it as much either. Because Forza Horizon 5 was the first one I really got into. I played for like 30, 40 hours, something like that, which ain't a little bit or anything. They can get a whole heck of a heap into it compared to like competitive and stuff. I got more into 5. So I'm not really fatigued of that type of style of Forza yet, too, like some people are. So I get why there is more negativity towards 5 or modern Forza Horizon or whatever you want to call it. But for me, I'm not really to that point yet, necessarily. So considering the track record of like how I know it and all that, and I've played it, going off that, to me, Forza Horizon 5, despite annoyances overall, was amazing. Of course, I'm extremely hyped for 6. Japan, people saw that coming, like, even before Forza Horizon 5 came out, really. Once Forza Horizon 5 was even, like, confirmed it was in Mexico, I'd say over half the fan base already said, oh, our next logical location will be 6 in Japan. They're going to wait to do 6 for completely the modern consoles, like where 5 also came out on the Xbox One. So that way they can have complete graphical fidelity and all that for Japan. And lo and behold, here we are. I mean, while we saw that coming, and even a lot of the specific information was leaked, this is like a Grand Theft Auto 6 situation where the trailer does not do justice to what is online. The trailer doesn't really do any justice for Horizon 6. I mean, frankly, the trailer is underwhelming, but again, considering the track record of the previous games and the hype of that, yes, it's in Japan, I'm extremely excited for it. And Tokyo. I really did not see Tokyo coming, because generally speaking, it's always been the thing of that for an open world game, it's harder to do outright cities because there's so many different ways of going about playing an open world game, it's not really a direct way of what the developers intend, like a circuit type racer. And even in circuit type racers, like PD has someone along there said that they're not really so focused on a city type course either, just because there's a lot more processing power and time to make it, and all that too. So when an open world game can actually manage to do Tokyo, granted, Tokyo Extreme Racer, I think it's even coming out like close to now, or maybe even now, or something like that. But from what I can tell, that's just the ring roads around Tokyo, and it has a completely different vibe to Forza too. TXR more focused on the car customization and culture and stuff. Horizon's more focused on insanity and just enjoyment of the players and stuff for the most part, so those can coexist. I don't really think one's going to leak into the other in terms of which one you're going to buy or whatever, or that too much. And that's overall for the best. Hopefully Tokyo Extreme Racer succeeds. I've talked about it a bit before. It's a great idea and a callback to classic games in a modern style, and that's great, but it's just not the type of game that I'm really going to buy either, because that's never been the style that I'm personally into. I very much get what others are, and I can appreciate that it is a good game, but still. It's something like Forza Horizon. It's more for me, for the sandbox and more playground. It's playground games, and it's also Turn 10. They're working together on this one, which, from how I understand it, is the first time Playground Games and Turn 10 are actually working together for Forza. So, theoretically, that, again, more speculation on there, that means that we could also be getting some of the real world tracks, or just what's in Forza Motorsport in general. Like, meaning of how we, like, the last thing added to Motorsport was the Japan 2's type track, that I would butcher the name on, so I'm not going to try that one out of respect, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, that people's been asking for probably over a decade for in Motorsport, finally been added, and it looks amazing and kind of like a swan song for a franchise, or kind of looking that way. So go out on at least somewhat of a bang with Motorsport, but I mean, luckily Turn 10 still exists, so it can work on Horizon as well. So even if it's not outright confirmed that we're going to get the racetracks, it also helps with the physics in certain cars, and maybe there would be more focus on a race car type aspect too with Motorsport as well. But I mean, all that, like, of what exactly Turn 10 is going to do is still speculation and stuff. But what already has been confirmed, because again, look at more of the articles than the trailer with this one. There's quite a few different articles, but one of them said straightforward too that it's already confirmed, and not just Tokyo, but the density and stuff's gonna be ratcheted up the game in general. One of the complaints by some in Horizon 5 that was kind of more sandbox than playground. I guess you could call that a pun on playground games in general. But generally speaking, I would say that the open world type racing game would also be considered more of a sandbox too. So I'm like on the fence of the Horizon 5 map. I very much understand what people are saying, that there's a lot of open areas in there that could be used instead for like racing roads that are fun to drive the roads themselves, but as a caveat to that, I mean, the sandbox type open world game, that's kind of what you want. You want to have free roam, and you want to screw around and all that. So I'll put it like this. From what it seems like, it's confirmed that the maps is going to be more dense in general, so it will be very much unique compared to Horizon 5. I guess we'll see when it's out what ends up being better. I like the Forza Horizon 5 map more than 4. I mean, I'll put it straightforward. It's bigger, it's prettier, it's more verticality, it's more sandbox, but there's enough of the playground or racing or whatever you want to call that aspect for me personally. And there too, a personal opinion on that too. To me, the Forza Horizon 5 map is great. Not perfect, to some extent I get what people are saying on that, but it's a great map in my opinion. Do I think that 6 will be better? It depends on the details. It depends on how well they can rendering Tokyo. It depends on how well they can manage with the actual roads themselves in terms of making them fun more than outright completely realistic, in my opinion. If you want something realistic, there are plenty of other out there focused more on the fun, in my opinion, but different people have their opinions on that. And then obviously there's a lot more than just a map to 6 as well, but it's also confirmed that the seasons will be back. I mean, we've had them since 4, but the seasons will do more stuff in just Japan in a general sense than Mexico, and of course that makes sense. Can't really fault Mexico for not having the most amazing seasons because it's realistic, so yeah, of course Japan would be better than that. But not just the map itself, I mean, it seems pretty. That's confirmed too that we're beginning a whole heck of a heap of new cars and some revamped physics with Turn 10 working there too. And again, you'd think with Turn 10 there would be more of a focus on a race car type aspect too, so that just seems like an all-around combination. Confirmed of the map being more dense, getting Tokyo. Eventually we're going to get a PS5 release, saying post-launch. I mean, I don't have a PS5, that's not that big of a deal for me. I'll see how that goes when I'll get it. I'd say it's almost certainly when and if I'll get Horizon 6. I'll see about launch or not. I don't know. Kind of depends on some real world aspects on that. That ain't necessarily to do with gaming. We'll see. But I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a genuine argument that there's more speculation of Forza Horizon 6 than anything said in this video. Is at least there's a confirmed trailer where they're talking about the different classes of driver and sportsmanship rating and project motor racing. Or there's a confirmed trailer with Kaz literally talking and video showing the Yas Morena and Gilles Villeneuve. With Horizon 6, I mean, all we outright see is the Japan backdrop. But given the track record, to me, of the franchise, of what I've played of the franchise being more modern, and of what's confirmed in articles and stuff like Tokyo, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt and still say that Horizon 6 will be an amazing game. Will it be better than 5? Will it be better for the hardcore fans, the long-term fans, of more of the classic games and franchise? We'll see, but, I mean, to me, it seems like a great combination. Get more of the physics and race car type base of Turn 10. Get the map that everyone saw coming in Japan, the perfect sequel. That's where they haven't gone yet, and what most people wanted, so that's the perfect system to go there. Get with completely the modern consoles so they can make the graphics as good as possible and stuff. I mean, that seems like a very much amazing combination. Of course, once we know more info, I'll eventually do a video. I'm sure I'll do another Forza Horizon 6 video before the game itself comes out. When that will be, we'll see. I mean, it's not even confirmed exactly when we're going to get the next information. It's not even confirmed of how much the game will cost. That's what I mean. I don't know if I'll be buying it on release. We'll see, but it does seem like very much a when than if I'll get the game. I mean, with Project Motor Racing, it purely is a if it has free Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus not needed for racing. I'll get it. Maybe not on release, but eventually. With GT7, I already have it, so of course I'll play it, but it's a real if on what that means for the future of the franchise. It's a real if on whether I get GT8. That's a real if. But I'd say it's almost certainly when and if be getting Forza Horizon 6. Again, I get the complaints. I understand some people have more fatigue of the franchise have been playing it longer. And I understand if Turn 10 making Horizon means they're not going to focus much on motorsport. So those that are more of the motorsport type fans might be pissed there. I get that. But overall, for Forza Horizon 6 specifically, I don't really see much negatives. Of all the other things I've talked about in the video, I've mentioned a lot of negatives in there. Really about the only arguably negative you could say of Horizon 6 is that the trailer was nothing really at all. But as far as I understand it, that's always how it's been of the franchise, and definitely how it was in Horizon 5, because that's when I started paying attention to it. Horizon 5, we barely even knew much of anything until a few months before release. I mean, with this, we don't even have an exact release date. We just get a year, and that year is for Xbox, and for all I know, it ended up being delayed anyway. That happens more times than not. My hopes are for Project Motor Racing to have free multiplayer, like is what they somewhat advertise. My hopes for GT7 is a sign of things to come, a sign that we get more tracks down the road and get newer Group 3 cars down the road, and on just quality of life stuff, not as much microtransaction heavy and all that. My hopes is for Forza Horizon 6 to come out pretty soon on PS5, and to have the best of Turn 10 and all that. We don't really know for sure. But all in all, my expectations are, well, I have GT7, so I'll play it, obviously. And I expect that the racing game industry will improve some. The last few years for racing industry have not all of it really, but this one's focused some more on game. Industry have not exactly been the daintiest, but nonetheless, even though there's a lot of speculation, between the speculation and what is confirmed, I can pretty much say with certainty that the racing games are looking better for the future than they are in the current, and especially of the recent past. So that in of itself, while there's still a mix of speculation and confirmed, is still all in all combined to most certainly be worth a yeehaw.